Second thing is bibliography. This is very important thing, to have extensive bibliography in your thesis. What is extensive bibliography? Is the area of research in under which you are working. You should know, you should read, you should have the original text, and you should read that particular area of research very extensively. So I have seen in many of the theses, the total number of the pages in the thesis is 300, 280, 290, and we can see there are only 5 pages or 6 pages in your bibliography. So usually examiner give this kind of remarks, the candidate should use extensive bibliography. So your area of research is very important in that sense, that you have to read lots of text before beginning. These are your 6 months. This 6 month, don't waste your 6 months. Read and continuously read whatever you get, the theories, the criticism, any good lectures, YouTube, go through YouTube's, go just listen to lectures of senior professors in your area in which you are going to, in the area which you are going to plan. Now, citation is one thing, second is bibliography, and the third very important thing is formatting of the thesis. Formatting of the thesis means, suppose I'm just telling you only one very small thing, pagination. Where will you mention the page number? It's very important. So if this is a page, so not here, not at the down, this side. The page numbers will be here only, right? And always remember, the very first page in which the title is there, we never use page number on that. It is being assumed that this page number is 1, so we will always mention page number 2 on the next page, right? So it has to be followed, and don't forget where will be the page number, right? So this kind of small things. How will you write block quotes? You have to use Times New Roman throughout your thesis. No other, nothing Arial or something like, BlackBerry and something like that. Times New Roman is a standard size. Your font size will be 12 only. And now in 7th or 8th edition, from MLA 7th or 8th edition, the entire thesis will be in double space. It will be in double space. So now, as the time is going on, when we have completed our thesis, it was very difficult for us to set the pattern. Block quotes were in single space, and then the entire thesis was on 1.5. Dr. Mehta, am I right? Now it's
even
very easy.
You are very true that even there was no provision of computers, electronic type.
Yes. Yes, lots of correction was done, and retyping we used to complete like this. But you all are fortunate. You are the students of 21st century, and computer has made your life very easy. So in that reference also, these are the set patterns: double spacing, Times New Roman, and 12 font for 12 font size. So these are the common things which we teach you in this pre-PhD course. So citation, bibliography, and formatting. Now let us come to the language. I don't know what pattern your university take up for selection of research for the to the research scholar. But basically, after your entrance test, when you come for the interview for your selection, we always give you 5-minute write up. We give all of you give up. We give a 5-minute write up to all the students in order to check your language. because it is very easy. Almost all the universities take this provision ki entrance tests are on MCQ basis. So MCQ basis is very easy, tick mark and tick mark. And for literature, you need to write correct English. And how will your teachers and supervisors, how will faculty member come to know whether you know the proper language, what is your grammar, what is your vocabulary, and such other things. So for that purpose also, you need to know the basic grammar rules. Any language has two aspects. Number one is grammar, and the second one is vocabulary. Some of the students are good for as good as far as their grammar is concerned, but their vocabulary is not good. So if you want to become a good researcher, enrich your vocabulary. So how will you enrich your vocabulary? Take a register, take a dictionary, take out only 15 to 20 words per day and write in that particular. You take the word, you take the alphabet V today. From V, you write only 10-15 words. So next day you can start with S. Next day you can start with Q. So with that, you will be learning so many words. Synonyms. Synonyms are very important because it is the basic quality of a research, that there should not be repetition of the words in your thesis. Right? Critically examine, analyze, summarize, all these words. There are so many words. Synonyms have been synonyms are there, and for that you should use all these words. Don't repeat the words. That is the quality of a good thesis. So language is very important. So after completing your 6-month course, learning lots of formatting, learning how to cite from electronic sources, print media, and internet, and from books and journals. Now comes the main task. And usually teachers are overburdened with the task. They give you the liberty. What is your area of research? What is your area of specialization, or rather, what is your area of interest? Now comes the main task. This is the major point, which you cannot I would say कि बार बार ये गलती आप नहीं कर सकते. You choose your topic of your thesis and your spouse once in your life, right? So be careful in this selection. You see, you have to develop all certain things, all the things which you want to go for it, which you wanted to opt for your 3 years and 4 years of research. Because this thesis, which you will be completing in your 3 years and 4 years, you have to carry that thesis throughout your life, like this. In whatever interview you are going to face, that thesis will go with you. If you become assistant professor, you will become associate professor, you will become professor. So till professor, your thesis will be with you. So be careful of choosing your topic. Be careful of choosing your area of research. Now, area of research, what it is. If your supervisor give you liberty of choosing the topic, you are the luckiest one. Because all the researchers, all the supervisors, all the faculty members have their own specialization, right? You see, I'm not comfortable with criticism. I'm not comfortable with the poetry, right? So if a student says, ma'am, I wanted to do PhD in poetry, suppose Sylvia Plath's poems, on Sylvia Plath's poetry, I will not be, saying yes to her or him, because I'm not comfortable with this, because that is not my genre. So it is between the supervisor and the research scholar. So compatibility is very important. You see, there is a chemistry between between a teacher and a scholar. So first of all, decide your genre. This is the first thing. Choose your genre, whether it will be fiction or drama or poetry or autobiography or essay or whatever it is. So your genre is very important. This will be the first thing. Second thing, nationality of the literature. Whether you are comfortable with Indian literature, whether you are comfortable with Pakistani literature, whether you are comfortable with American literature, because now the world is no we are global now. We are global means now we cannot say I cannot understand America, I cannot understand Africa, because everything is available on internet. On internet you can see everything, how they eat, what they drink, what they wear, what they what is their social structure, everything. So first thing is genre, second thing is nationality of that particular particular literature. So suppose you have chosen American literature, so your genre is fiction, so your field of area is American fiction, right? Then you come to American fiction, then you search on internet who are the writers, prominent writers of American literature, American fiction writers, right? Before this I would this is my query. I don't know whether it's Dr. Mehta might be telling us. Do you have a question, full length question on 21st Nobel laureates?
Yeah, we do have, but these students only one out of these students, only one Simran. She is our student in a MA. Otherwise, we have even that paper in which they have very latest, or I should say postmodern novelist also.
Okay, just give them a task. They have to what they can do is 21st century, yeah, 21st century major Nobel laureates in literature. Then they can choose a particular Nobel laureate. Suppose Toni Morrison,
Yeah.
she got Nobel Prize in 1994. So they can take up one student can take up Toni Morrison, and she can prepare a chart. In between, it can be in a form of a tree. In between there will be Toni Morrison and then her writings around, and then there are the characteristics of Toni Morrison. So in that way your specialization will be on one particular Nobel laureate. If you wanted if you wanted to work on contemporary, then 21st century means after 2001 we have 21 Nobel laureates in between, right? So choose one Nobel laureate and then go through the name of the text, their characteristics, and that because it is also a trend on working on Nobel laureates, right? So this is again a trend. Nobel laureates are very important writers. So I would recommend, I would suggest Dr. Mehta to give them task. Either they make a presentation on one Nobel laureate, and there should not be repetition. Suppose Simran is taking one author, so Astha should take another one, right? Or if Prathama should take another one. So in
Good
that way,
suggestion. Good suggestion. Thank you very
yes,
much.
in that way they will be specialized in one particular Nobel laureate author. Now, another question which is very important, and that is plagiarism. I think there is a separate Dr. Saab, there is a ethics paper in your university also.
Yeah,
UGC has, yes,
yeah.
yes,
In their
UGC
research
has
methodology, they
recently,
have this
yes, two
section is
credits. 2 credits, yes. So that paper is very important, and there is a very interesting fact is that UGC and no higher education authority has given any syllabus on this plagiarism and on ethics paper, right? Because ethics, you cannot define ethics. What is the ethics for a teacher? आपने देखा कि हर जगह पर देयर इज कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. अगर कोई आईएएस ऑफिसर है उसके लिए भी एक कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट है, एक पीसीएस ऑफिसर है, एक पुलिस ऑफिसर है, उसके लिए भी कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट है. बट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट इज दैट यूनिवर्सिटी एंड कॉलेज टीचर्स, दे डोंट हैव कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. Why? Because it has been presumed and assumed that teacher is a monument of discipline. So there is no need of code of conduct for the teacher. So likewise, there is no syllabus in ethics paper. So what we will teach you is a question. What will be, plagiarism is chori. आप किसी का उठा के अपनी थीसिस में लिख दोगे, right? That is plagiarism. So how will you come out of it? This is what we teach you in ethics paper. Now, how to avoid plagiarism? Plagiarism, the basic thing is, when you read something, you reread something, then you again third time you read something, and that particular matter involves, it comes in your mind. And when you start writing your thesis, that particular conscious and subconscious mind comes in form of writing, right? So Simone de Beauvoir says women is not born, they are made. No, यार औरतें पैदा नहीं होती, उनको बना दिया जाता है. Now this kind of concept again and again comes in your mind, and you remember, yes, Simone de Beauvoir has said, but you cannot write Simone de Beauvoir has said this statement simply in your thesis. You have to write within inverted commas, and you have to give proper thanks to Simone de Beauvoir. The second sex, you have to mention the name of the book, you have to mention the name of the writer and the page number and everything. So plagiarism means you start taking somebody, you start reading another thesis, आपको लगा यार ये पैराग्राफ ठीक है, ये अपने में लिख देते हैं. So it is plagiarism. So to avoid plagiarism, what you will do is, if you find that this idea is good, so you have two ways. Either you acknowledge that particular line. Secondly, what you can do is you can change the language. You can change the language means you can use your own language. And suppose you take up the biography. Your first chapter is introduction, in which biographical details of the writer is always there. So our author is born in such and such, his father's name is such and such, his mother's name is such and such, and he got Nobel Prize in this. How can you change this? You cannot, right? You cannot change biography, na? हम डेट चेंज नहीं कर सकते, हम प्लेस चेंज नहीं कर सकते, वो कहाँ पैदा हुआ. Then, so some things are quite obvious. But if you are taking, if suppose I have written an article on Gita Hariharan, and you are working on Gita Hariharan, you don't have any liberty to write. You just took my paper, and then you quoted from my research paper, and then you mention then you completed your thesis. No, you have to acknowledge Professor Monika Gupta, article's name, the title of the article, the name of the journal, and the page number, and so on. Right? So how will you avoid plagiarism? Is read, and read. My dear children, there is no way out. Now you cannot say, completing PhD is an easy thing. It's a task. And the students who work, whenever they take this task very lightly, they cannot defend their thesis in their viva, in their interviews, and in their future life also. So you have devoted your life 3 to 4 years for on your topic, and you are not able to complete, you are not able to answer, you are not able to justify your topic, is a very bad thing. Now all of you might have heard about new NEP, National Education Policy. Have you heard about this? Right. So now new education policy is focusing on research. And now their query is how your research is going to give benefit to the society, right? You have started working on themes of Shakespearean sonnet. So how your research is going to be beneficial for the society. So national education policy is focusing now that there should be some contribution of the researcher towards the society. For that particular reason, now the trend in choosing the topic in English literature is also changing. So I told you, you have to choose the genre, then the nationality, and then the author. What were the trends in research? Number one is comparative literature. It is a very common thing between the students. Compare and contrast between Shakespeare and Kalidas, right? So one can compare Shakespeare and Kalidas because Shakespeare is also a dramatist and Kalidas is also a dramatist, right? So comparison can be done, but we cannot compare Keats and Kalidas because Keats is basically a poet. So when you compare and contrast, there should be some symmetrical things should be there. Means genre should be one. Sometimes I have seen recently a thesis in which Anita Desai and Mulk Raj Anand has been compared. So I asked that particular student, why did you choose Mulk Raj Anand and Anita Desai? You should take you can take Anita Desai and Shashi Deshpande, or you can take Raja Rao and Mulk Raj Anand, because the the gender of the author is again very important. You take up the Nirbhaya case, right? If I will write something on Nirbhaya case, the story, or if I write a fiction on Nirbhaya, my version will be totally different. If Professor Mehta will write a story or a novel on Nirbhaya, his attitude will be totally different, because these are the gender based jo the things, gender based discrepancies, or rather things are again very important, because gender matters. It is biological. The things, the thoughts, the views, they all are very important for us. So basically, when you compare and contrast between two things, there's a trend of writing, of comparing Toni Morrison and Bama. Bama is from South India. She's a Dalit writer. Vice versa, Toni Morrison is again black, which is subaltern, and she's a black woman. She's a black writer. She is a subaltern writer, and she writes about women issues and racism, right? So these issues are again very important, and uh, whenever you compare and contrast, you just see that the gender of the author should be same, the genre of the writers should be same, but nationality can be another. That would be very good topic. That would give you very forceful idea of your research. Suppose you start writing about Afghani women, right? On the
I think some problem in audio. Okay.
maybe I think light has gone. Just hold on, just hold on, just give me a 1 minute.
Okay, ma'am. Students After this lecture, you are most welcome to ask your questions. And on 1st February, there will be a special expert lecture by Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, and it will be
Okay.
around 12
Yes.
p.m.
Yes. Okay. I think there was interruption of the light. Yes. Now it's okay. So what I was
Sir,
saying, yes,
one minute.
yes,
Sir, are we
yes.
not recording it today? It
Kindly,
seems.
Sumanji, please see the chat box. I already replied to it. Okay, please see to it.
Should I continue, sir?
Kindly, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So one area is comparative study, and the merit and demerits of comparative study is, one thing is you are able to know two authors, right? If the nationality is different, you are more you learn more about that particular country also, and then in compare and contrast, many merits and demerits come in front of you. Second thing is you need to read two authors, so it will give you double burden also, right? Another area of research is Dalit literature, subaltern literature. So it is again a very important theme, but I think lot of work has been done on this aspect. Then there is one more important thing is the theory. Students usually apply theory on certain writers. Suppose post-colonial theory on the writings of Amitav Ghosh. I have seen number of researches on this particular topic, but basically the problem which come for them is they are not able to justify their theory, how they are applying on the text, right? So if you, after working 3 to 4 years on a particular theory, support diaspora theory, so if you are not able to apply it and if you are not going to justify your work, it goes in vain, right? So theory is again a very important part. Then criticism, uh, then commonwealth literature, and so many things are there. Now I don't want to go what has already been done. Now I'm focusing on what you can choose, what will be your area. If you are innovative, if you want to work according to new education policy, the very first thing which is very important is pandemic literature. For the last 2 years we have been facing COVID-19, and the literature, people are in isolation. What they were doing, they were writing. They have seen what has gone with the, with their with the people who are surrounded. Their maids, their relatives, they are dying, they don't have medicine. What are the psychological problems, social problems, financial problems. So lots of pandemic literature is coming up. So that can be area, right? Secondly, uh, you can go through is prison literature. Prison literature is, what is prison literature is, there are two things. One is, in prison literature, if a person is in jail and he is writing in the jail about his own life or others life, that is a prison literature. Secondly, if a person is outside and he is writing about a prisoner, it can be also, it can also be incorporated in prison literature. But the actual prison literature will be when the person is in prison and he is writing about convicts and other problems, and what are the issues about them. Second, another important area can be disabled literature. It is again coming very 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 prominent. Now you can take up certain texts. You can choose, not by one author, you can choose four authors, 4 to 5 authors and their work, in which the protagonist is disabled. And mark this thing, that disability is not always physical, it is mental also, right? It is mental also. So if a person cannot hear, cannot see, he's a blind, lame footed or something like that, disabled literature. So it is again a very very upcoming branch of literature. Then you have pandemic literature. Then another 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 thing is myths retold. Myths retold. उसका नाम क्या है, पटनायक, सुदर्शन पटनायक,
Devdutt
Sudarshan
Patnaik.
Patnaik. Yes,
Devdutt
Sudarshan
Patnaik.
Patnaik. Devdutt
Pat-
Patnaik. Yes, I always forget the name. Devdutt Patnaik. This Amish Tripathi, right? These modern writers, and they, although they are being criticized on religious level, on emotional surface, but they have been writing on these aspects, and people are loving it. अमीश त्रिपाठी का मेलुआ एंड ऑल, लोगों ने बहुत पसंद किया है, लाइक इट्स अ पॉपुलर लिटरेचर नाउअडेज. So myths retold is, again, if you are interested in myths, then you can compare and contrast what is how these writers are recreating the characters of Sita, recreating the characters of Draupadi, in Pandavas, Ram. So like if you have gone through the lectures on YouTube by Kumar Vishwas, how he reinterpreted the things, Sita ke Ram, all these things. So if you are interested in myths, then you can work upon it. Then lots of work is going on autobiography nowadays. So you can select autobiographies also, and for this purpose you have to choose a particular area, right? So gay autobiographies, the Dalit autobiographies, queer autobiographies, transgender autobiographies. So these autobiographies are again coming up. Another area of research is queer, that is LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, transgenders, bisexual, homosexuals. These things are, after Article 377, this section 377. So lots of writer are coming up, lots of, you can see web series, lots of movies like Married Woman, Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan. You can just all see, and people are liking it in web series, in OTT platforms, in movies. This transgenders, these gays, these lesbian, these are now hot topics, among the among the readers, and they are writing, people are writing. Now these gay people who are lesbians, earlier they were hiding themselves. See, Ismat Chukta is Lihaf, long time ago, and उनको समन आ रहा है, अभी रिसेंटली वूट पर एक वेब सीरीज आई है, उनको कोर्ट में बुला दिया गया ना इस्मत चुगताई को, कि यू आर राइटिंग सच अ वल्गर थिंग. Now just look at the writers, like Married Woman, and many lesbian writers are, they are declaring themselves ki, yes, I am lesbian. Karan Johar is saying I am gay, and they are making their name and fame in their respective areas. So this trend is again coming up, and that could be another aspect. Then post colonial literature. Another thing is very important is war literature. War literature, or you can say trauma literature, is again very important. uh, you know uh, Many Japanese have they have come up with the with abhi recently they got Nobel Prize also. So this kind of literature is also coming up, and these things can be can be taken up. But think about something new, right? One of my research scholar, she said, ma'am, I wanted to work on Chitra Banerjee Divakurni. So I said, okay. So there is a website, there is a inflibbit पे आपको शोध गंगा मिल जाएगा. तो शोध गंगा में यू राइट चित्रा बनर्जी दिवाकुर्नी, तो इन द एंटायर वर्ल्ड आपको जिस पर पीएचडी जिसने की होगी आपके उसमें टॉपिक आ जाएंगे, राइट. So both of us sat together and we discussed and we saw almost all the aspects have been covered on Chitra Banerjee Divakurni. Women issue, Falana issue, themes and this and that. Almost all the work has been done. She said, ma'am, I have already read all the text, all the 5-6 texts I have read. Now what to do? It will be the waste of time. Then we applied theory of Jared Jennett, narrative technique in the work of Chitra Banerjee Divakurni. Right. So in that way, themes and the story is also covered, but how the story is being narrated by the student is by the writer is very important, right? Whether it is a first person, second person, dream sequence, nostalgic, and so many things were, time is important, space is important, place is important. All these things have been covered, and she justified her work. When I was very young, when I prepared my first synopsis, Dr. Mehta, I'm just telling you, I prepared a thesis, I prepared a synopsis on women characters in the works of Shashi Deshpande. And it has been rejected by Board of Studies. I felt so bad. So I was told that lots of work has been done on Shashi Deshpande. Then at that very moment, I decided, okay, अब काम तो शशि देशपांडे पे ही कराना है, but कैसे कराना है is important. Then I changed the subject and I gave the topic treatment of male characters in the works of Shashi Deshpande. Shashi Deshpande is herself a female writer and she writes about the females. Her major protagonist is almost all the characters, main protagonists are, female. Be it a Winding Vine and any you take up any novel. So my version was how male characters are, how they are behaving with their, female characters, whether major characters or a minor character, whether a rickshaw wala, whether a sabji wala, whether a cobbler, whosoever minor or major character in the male in the form of male have been presented in the text, how they are behaving, what are their attitude towards women, right? So you can choose any topic, but it is research, bache. So in research, search has been already done, you have to redo it. So it is your creativity, it is your version, how you can do, how you are planning to do, which nobody is thinking about, right? और किसी ने वो सोचा ही ना हो, आप उस पर काम कर डालें. So if you take up any issue, suppose I'm talking about pandemic literature or disabled literature or queer theory, so in that work you can work on, sensitization का भी आप काम कर सकते हो. In that way you can have your own platform, right? Have you seen any of your friends, any of your classmates, any transgender in your class? Do you have any? Have you seen any of the faculty who is a transgender? No. Just think about it. Why not? They are also human beings. They don't have right to read. Now, whenever you fill up the form, you have female, male, and others. You have 3 options now. So where are these others? What are they doing? They are only coming to your home on weddings and, on happy occasions. They are taking money and going back. In the entire city, there are 5 to 10 transgenders. Can't we teach them? Can't we tell them to, read? They can join the colleges and schools and they can come forward. So have that vision. You are not a PG student now. You are a research scholar. Research scholar is, something very, you all are very lucky one. You all 6, you got the seat. People are fighting for PhD seats. So you are our future faculty members also. You will be with us in any form, in as an assistant professor, or as a faculty member or anything. So be visionary, think on a different platform. तभी आप different हैं, तभी आप खास हैं. That's the reason you are researcher scholars. So I wish you all very happy, happy future life. And I wanted you, all of you, that you all become successfully complete. You complete your PhD. You choose very good topics, very innovative topics, and I hope you liked my lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And in order to summarize it, from where you have started, you talked about the MLA style sheet, in which you highlighted what is the significance of a comprehensive, updated bibliography. Then how to cite citations are very important. I'm really sorry, though it is being recorded. Simran has not noted down even a single thing. So this lecture has to be noted down. Such lectures are very, very important for us to undergo any kind of, research. Formatting of thesis is very important, and people, they, generally they don't know about it, and they don't like to know also. What they think that we have got admitted now, we should get relaxed. PhD will be done in 3 years' time, and our job will be over. But I think it's an eye-opener lecture for all the PhD aspirants as well as those who are doing it. And if they are doing for the sake of doing, it's really good. They should do and complete. But if they want to make it meaningful, a worth living work, then need to pull out their socks. I think what you want to communicate, it's not very openly, since you are a seasoned academician. We are just like small lamps who are shining under your sun like knowledge. So even you talked about how to put page numbers, and it's very sorry, pathetic that we get, even I get PhDs from the different parts of the country, different parts of the even globe also at times, and people, they do not know how to even put page numbers, and that page number should not be there at the the inside chapters or the title page. Even sometimes you have subtitles, sub chapters also. And then even you talked about the double spacing, and it is very must, I think, in these days. Even the style of citation has got drastic changes. They must be aware. Otherwise, they, wherever their PhD will go, it will be simply they will definitely go through. You also know the inside story, but it will be a kind of caffeine for them to carry throughout their life. You are very true in that. That this PhD is not for today, it is meant for their better tomorrow. In order to make them their future safe, secure, and they want to be in a job, they need to work little bit sincerely. Not they should get completely engrossed into it, but at least they should have their focus and concentration on making it somewhat good in aesthetic look, as well as in it should, in content wise, it should be worthy enough to be read. And then the language part you covered very nicely. And then I think the crux of your lecture, I think it is related to that areas that you discussed and deliberated in the lecture, that uh, you have various genre, and you have to choose out of those genre. And like for example, you started from the comparative literature. I think it is the most hot topic of the present time, that the people, they do comparison or contrast or all these things, thesis, antithesis, and all these things are happening. But people, they do not know how to take two different authors from two different groups, or how to mingle them up, and then they should come up something which is out of box. So you covered that area also very nicely. And even you talked about like for example, I have noted down each and everything. That comparative literature, you can compare with Shakespeare and Kalidas, but you can't compare with W.B. Yeats or John Keats with Kalidas. It's very something which is very striking. And even Anita Desai, she cannot be compared. Then you talked about the gender issues that they can also take, and they can have a comparative study of different like writers, Toni Morrison from that part of the world where apartheids and all those things, cultural clashes are there, racial conflicts are there, and even that color, that color syndrome is also there. So you covered and you talked and you related it to Vama. a South Indian writer. So Dalit writer. So to both of them, they are somewhat near to that. In one that they talk about the people, those who are at the margin, or they are the subaltern people. And even you talk, you gave very valuable insights on how to apply a theory in on a text or on any book, in novel or any work of art or literature. Like Amitav Ghosh, post-colonial theory has been applied many a times, and people like to do, because this is the simplest way. If something has been done many a times, then it is very easy for them to get the material from there, and then they come up with their own binded work. But that will not do. It will not run for a long period of time. It may be a short-term objective of them. Then the diaspora theories also you talked about, and you have to justify that theory to your work, which is, I think, the highlight of that particular line. That justify, okay, whatever theory you like to apply, Krukti, Dhoni theory, whatever theory you like to have, and that it has to be applied and justify your grounds. That is, I think, very important. And the literary criticism, and then pandemic literature, you even covered that, which is very recent. And even in the older times in England, Black Plague was there. So you can have a compare and contrast again in the pandemic world of literature also. And then prison literature, very good, very nice, because big boss and new things are coming up, and they are also kind of confined places are there. So it's something which is a very interesting one. Then you talked about the disabled literature, very good, very nice. I think they should understand that they have to recreate, they have to be very innovative in this. And mythological stories of Devi Datta Patnayak or Amish Tripathi, all these are new authors. We can take risk, but still this risk can give them leverages, or they can get they these authors, they provide them some substantial amount of content to ponder about. And then the autobiographical works, and autobiographical of especially the LGBT work, from the LGBT world, they can also take from there. And even you talked about the web series, film stories, or film appreciation, or all these things are there. Media, that is the broad area, is media. And then you talked about the post-colonial trauma, war literature. All these are, I think, the even I like to add something more into it, that people are now doing environmental studies also there. Environmental digital humanities are also there, so they can also collaborate with all these major trends which are very recent and running in our presently people are working on it. And you gave your own example, that you have chosen a very well known author, Shashi Deshpande, but you have taken a very unique subject like treatment of male characters. The case is same with me also. I wrote a synopsis, and you might be aware about Professor N.G. Oberoi and Professor Tandon. They were there at the time I completed my PhD in the 2003, almost 18 years ago. I don't know, but at that time, my topic was that I chose holy man, in the portrayal of holy man in the select short stories of Rudyard Kipling.
Okay.
And it sounds very good. But then when I appeared and tried to defend it, then that you might be aware of that great person of English literature, Bhishma Pitama, S.D. Sharmaji, the vice
Arey.
chancellor of former vice chancellor of University. He was there, and he put his hand on my this back and said, "Young lad, you are full of promises, but don't kill yourself. It will be a suicidal attempt by you." Then he told me also very openly that you have taken a very good topic, undoubtedly, but it is very narrow one. Try to make it large. It should be broader enough. And then they added certain things into it, and ultimately I did my PhD on the concept of spirituality. The thing was more or less same, but a wider,
Wider
uh,
perspective.
better perspective. I think I should say wider perspectives have been added into it. And even in the second PhD, also the same thing happened with me when I was pursuing my PhD in the management. People came as a rescue party and helped me out. So when you are in research, don't feel yourself isolated. Take the help of people like Professor Dr. Monika Gupta, who is always readily available, and I hope that she will render her support and valuable sessions, not today but even in future also. So, ma'am, we are really thankful for sparing your valuable time with us. We are highly obliged by your wonderful talk and deliberation. May I now request our students of PhD, Even one student we have from abroad, Sumanji. She is the student of PhD from the Diaspora and Migration Studies Department. So the forum is open for any discussion, madam. Please
Yes,
be with us
please.
for next 5 or 6
Yes,
minutes.
yes, yes.
I'll be
Yeah,
very
thank
grateful.
you.
Any question, please ask your question.
Anything, bachcho, whatever, don't, if you don't have queries, plus you can share your future ideas on which topic you wanted to work on.
Brajaji,
Anything.
Brajaji, you should start. I think,
Ah,
madam, she was
yes.
talking about mythology and you are interested in mythology.
जी सर.
Hmm.
Ma'am, good morning, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Actually, I'm thinking about this. Yes, you told about myths retold. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, yes, you are audible. I can hear you. Yes.
Yeah. So in this area of mythology, we have some epic also, the great Bhagavad Gita, Ramayans, and some other Upanishad also, the Vedas also. So in this way, how can I go for that and mythical part of that?
Mythical. Yes. You can take up, you choose a character. You
Okay.
choose a particular character which you like the most. Suppose you like Hanuman. Suppose you like Bhim, right? You like in Pandavas, you like Yudhishthir, you like Sita, you like Draupadi. So you take up a character. You can take up a character and then you go through the fictions, different mythical fictions in which these characters have been portrayed, how they have been presented, and you can take up 19th century literature, 20th century literature, and 21st century literature. Suppose, for example, if Sarojini Naidu has taken up this character, how Shashi Deshpande has taken, and how Meera Nair has taken up. So within the span of 150 years, how these characters have been analyzed by different writers. So that would be the new way of writing, right? Suppose Shiv Stuti, how how Shiv and Parvati's relationship have been portrayed by different authors. What is the interpretation of Amish Tripathi? What is the interpretation of other writers who are writing in English and who are writers of Indian writing English? But try to take up Indian writers, because how Indians are reinterpreting our religious or mythological characters is totally different from the Western writers. So that would be a different version, in my view. I'm sure Dr. Mehta will be agree with me, because as an Indian, as as an Hindu of our country, our thinking is totally different from how the Western people are taking up our Vedas, Upanishads, and our epics. So that will be a very new version of of this thing. And more or less, you can work on Amish also. All 3 to 4 works Amish Tripathi has taken up, but be sure about it, because a lot of work has been already done on Amish Tripathi. So please search on Shodh Ganga continuously, read research articles, and then you just decide your topic with the help of your supervisor. Ki what are the various topics which have been already covered? What can be explored? Try to explore that, so that in board of studies you will not face any problem. Okay. That is one of the way.
As you told that we can add the pandemic literature also. So it may be like in the duration of pandemic period, we have some resources or literature thoughts from the Bhagavad Gita or Ramayana like this.
Actually, pandemic literature is very good topic, but I think it's only 2 years, and within 2 years, what has really come up we have to see, because I have not very much gone deeply into it. We have to search on internet ki how many books have been written on during this period. Pandemic literature means, uh, within these 2 years, the writers who are writing short stories, who are writing small, novellas and small novels, because within 2 years it is very difficult to write, 2 or 3 novels by a single author. Nobody can write. So you have to search on that, ki what is there any creative work is being going on. People might be writing some good poems, so you can have that poetry collection. Then you have to focus on regional literature as well. Because it is possible that in Assamese, in Bengali, in Bengali language, in Tamilian, in Kannada language, there might be some literature. So you have to go through the translation works also, if it is available. Then you can work on it. Pandemic literature is very good topic, but we have to explore how much material we have to work upon it. Because
Yeah, you are
it's
very
a,
true, madam.
it will
Yeah.
be a problem for you, because you need extensive bibliography also. So unless and until you have criticism as well as enough text, uh, it may be risky task. I think it may be a
You
risky
are,
task.
you are
I
very
think
true.
after 1 or 2 years you can work on it. But the very very good topic, as far as your state is concerned, you can take up regional Adivasi literature of Madhya Pradesh, right? From Gumla and Raipur and that area. And
Yabua.
if you find that particular language, then you can work on that and you can translate. One of our research scholar, he's working with Professor Arun Pant, and Naren Singh Negi ji is a famous Uttarakhandi Garhwali poet and singer. So he himself, what he did is, he is a Garhwali, he is from Uttarakhand. So research scholar has translated his songs and poems into English. He got it published, and then he worked on that part. So new education policy is also focusing on regional literature. So in that way, if you have particular language of Madhya Pradesh, if you have that kind of a writer, a regional writer around you, you can work on it also.
Thank you, ma'am. I think
Yeah, thank
you
you.
given enough insights. You are very true that pandemic literature or any literature. So, say for
Huh.
example, whatever you are writing today, it may or
Huh.
may not be part of literature. Literature is
Huh.
something which has, which requires time to be tested.
Huh.
Touchstone
Huh.
method of, that John Dryden, that
Huh.
it has to be tested,
Hmm.
against the time, place, and all those space also. So, if it
Space
is going
also.
to be, yeah, it is going to be, tested, uh,
Huh.
just like a
But
classical
I
part
think, within 2-3 years, this pandemic literature will come up. Will come
of.
up surely. Yes.
But they have to carry that topic for the next 20 years or 30 years. So
Ha, ha,
pandemic
ha,
may
ha.
not go that too
But
long. You are
somehow somebody has to start. Somebody has to start.
but somebody has to start.
Yes.
Yeah, you are very true. So that what you are, I think you are very pragmatic in your approach. That you want them to choose any topic that can last long. Every day. You know what? Ever ready battery. That should,
Ji,
ever ready battery. So that
ji.
should continue. That will work for, I should say, at least for next 20 to 25 years. Almost they are 25, 20, 27 or around 30. So if they will choose any topic and next 20 or 25 years, they have to appear in the different interviews. So that will be more valid at that time. That will have that will not lose its sheen. That evergreenness should be there. So any
Yes.
other question apart from this question? You are most welcome. Otherwise, we should call it a day. I'm really thankful to ma'am, respected madam. I'm really thankful on behalf of Department of English from the Office of the Vice Chancellor of the University, Sanchi University of Buddhist-Indic Studies, that you gave your consent in without even any formalities. I'm really thankful, and I hope that your cooperation, your support will be with us not today,
Anytime,
yeah,
anytime.
even in future too. Thank you
And
very
convey
much.
my regards to Professor Nirja also.
Definitely, surely I will. Thank you very much, one and all. Um,
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You can leave. Ma'am. So, my dear students, on 1st of February, we have a lecture by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, and time will be, I think, around 12:05 p.m. You will be intimated. You will be intimated through mail, and accordingly, you have to be there. Thank you very much, one and all, and I hope that from first of February, you are having lots of assignments, lots of works to do. So get engaged yourself into that and do your work systematically and with great sincerity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.